So harvest ended a few weeks ago. The new grain system is full. We've actually unloaded some out of it. Haven't shown you anything about the bins for about a month, so let's take a look and see what's changed. So let's recap what we did here. So we tore down 4 old smaller bins over here. We took down about 40,000 bushels of storage. Each of these is about 41,000, these 2 new ones. The new dryer's 31,000, and the new wet bin holds 11,000. It's actually empty right now. The dryer is, I think, about half full. So we had our second best corn crop ever, and we still have room left. So that's what we wanted to do. And when we built this, we built it with the idea, so like another pair of bins just like that could be built right over here. We can expand fairly easily if we want to. We of course got this 18,000 gallon propane tank. In the past we always just had 3 little 1,000 gallon tanks on some running gear. Had to fill those off a bobtail in season during harvest. So if we go back to last year, we were paying like $1.74. We had 3 semi-loads come through here this year. Most of the last one is left. So if we split with a neighbor, which we might do next summer, we can actually get another half load in here. We take some summer price next year. You can see we're just about 50%. 85% is all you can fill because you got to have some room up top. You can't fill it full 100 with propane, but that's what's in there now. So I said we paid $1.74 last year. The first load we put in here this summer was only 68 cents a gallon. We paid 91 cents a gallon for a load in the season, and the last one we got right at the end was 88 cents. So we have saved quite a bit of money on propane by setting this up. We added this bit of vinyl fence here on the dump. Wish we would have had that during harvest, because if we turn around this way, 180 degrees, that would be the southwest. So that's where the prevailing winds are coming all the time. So they're coming through here, blowing all the bees wings and dust and whatever out of the truck to where you're standing on the opposite sides where the controls for everything are. So now we have a windbreak. We'll see how it works next fall, I guess. Didn't get to it this fall. Crane was back just last week and put the loadout spout in. So I had to put that up to the top of the leg. It's the one that goes kind of straight up there, and then it comes over like this. So loadout is in. We've done 2 loads out of here, I think, out of that bin. So that bin's had 2 loads pulled out of it. These are our controls next to the dump, so we can turn the leg on, turn on the pit to dump trucks. The unloads for the dryer, the wet bin, and the 2 new bins are all here. You see bin 4 jump and bin 5 jump. I'll show you those. That's something that's been done since harvest. All the unload systems have been installed since then. If you saw the previous videos, you know we got these amp meters to watch the leg and the pit, and we were having problems catching up and running out of amps on the pit because it was backfeeding and actually sending corn back to the pit from the discharge. So it was kind of going around. It's a drag. So like a paddle conveyor drag goes up and then out, and it was on the return side bringing corn back and just taking too much power. But that should be fixed now, although we didn't get to mess with it during harvest. We were done before it got to its final version, but that's all right. So there under the concrete, you can see the pit, the trucks dump in, then you got your chain drag. Corn's coming up through the bottom half of here, should be returning empty. What was happening was when it got up here to the top, our discharge wasn't big enough. So it wasn't able to get quite all the corn out, and occasionally it would send corn back over the top and bog the motor down. So now the discharge has this much bigger pipe, and up there we have a much more square to match the discharge on the drag, and it doesn't choke down as much. So this should be quite a bit faster. We were dumping trucks over here twice as fast as we could on the old side, but it wasn't as fast as expected. I still think we can take a few minutes off dumping a truck, get those trucks back to the field quicker. So we'll find that out next fall when we get to dump wet corn in here again. So I showed you those controls for jump 4 and jump 5. So these are these 2 angled augers here. So those are the jump augers. The dryer and the wet bin also have jump augers to get to the leg. And of course, if you don't know how a leg works, it all goes up the leg on a belt full of buckets. And then you got a distributor up there. You can change which pipe you're going to, and grain goes where you need it to. These are where we reuse some pieces of the old system. So our old system, the older, shorter leg couldn't hit every bin. So we had quite a few overhead augers that would dump into, and they would jump over to 1, 2, or even go through the roof of 3 different bins to get where it needs to go. So these are actually 2 of our overhead augers off the old system. So you can see all the new stuff has like this yellow orangish painted metal, and those are red up there. Those are from the old system. So those are just recycled and just kind of modified to fit the unloads on these 2 new bins. So this is the main unload on the dryer, and we kind of did a custom job. So let's go 180 degrees to the other side. So this is the opposite side of the dryer. So this old red motor, that's an old motor we reused, and this tube and auger here, that is also one of the old overheads. So we put in a secondary unload system on the dryer. So there's a sump in the middle that's normal, that goes to the unload I showed you on the other side, and just next to this one there's another smaller sump. So this auger comes out into here, and this actually goes to the old leg. Show you how that works. So there it is coming up this way, and then put a new pipe on the end, and it feeds down into the old leg. Why do we want to go to the old leg? Well, the old leg right here still fills the old wet bin, these 2 twins here that we built back in 2017, and the previous dryer, which we still have and is still in operation. And actually this dryer got used to fill those 2 bins and fill itself before the other side was ready to dump on. So old dryer actually worked flawless for the first time in a long time this year. It was showing us it could still do work even though the new one's right next to it. But in the future now, since the new dryer is much faster, the new dump is much faster, the leg is also faster, we can use the new dryer to fill kind of what I'm calling the old side of the bin system. So the old dryer can only really fill itself and those 2 bins we built 6 years ago. The new dryer between both legs can fill everything. Back to the secondary unload on the dryer. Almost forgot to explain this. In case you're wondering what that box was, that is for a future project. Let me explain that. So bin 7 here, you can see it unloads here, no other auger underneath it, so it doesn't go to the leg. So we have to bring an auger in here and hook up the tractor with the PTO to fill the trucks. And then when it runs out of gravity, when the sumps run out, we have to toss an auger and a motor in there and push it around with our foot and shovel and sweep behind it. Well, our old dryer, that's 20 years old now, it has what's called a power sweep in it. The 2 new bins we built 6 years ago, they both have power sweeps in it. These 4 new bins we've got, they all have power sweeps in it. So now bin 7 is the only one here at the shop location. We got some bean bins elsewhere. Bin 7 is the only one that doesn't have a power sweep anymore. First, a quick lesson in how a bin empties. So there's a center sump and the grain goes down there. So eventually this angle gets enough where gravity doesn't bring it in anymore. And then you have some intermediate sumps. So then you open those and this gets down and you can open this door right here. So then when you run out of gravity, what do? You throw this handle on the auger to engage the power sweep. So the outside door there doesn't hold any corn back. There's an interior set of doors on the bin that holds the grain back. This one's empty, so we can open it up. If it wasn't, we couldn't open it. Dust clear a second. So we're inside the wet bin now, which feeds the dryer, so wet corn into the dryer. But this is a power sweep, so the auger, when you throw that handle, engages this gearbox, turns this auger, and it walks itself around and empties the bin. You don't even have to come in here. A little cleanup afterwards, but you don't need to be in here with the auger, and you're not pushing it around with your foot. Let me show you that. So without a power sweep, it'd look a little different than this, but it's basically an auger with a shield behind it. Kind of got to shove it around with your foot because it's not powered, not driven. And then you have one of those big electric motors here sitting on the end of it. Then you got a cord running out the door. Then you got to get in and out and wash the truck. Power sweep takes away all that. It's cleaner, it's safer, it's more efficient. So sometime between now and next harvest, when this bin is empty again, just didn't have time to do it before this fall, our bin builder actually has all the materials at their shop right now, so it's ready to go whenever we have this bin empty. Empty it, they will tear out the floor, put in a new unload system, bring it all the way to this side. Let's get turned around here. Bring it all the way to this side. So we're gonna go not quite half, a third of the way around the bin. Old unloads over there facing the driveway. It'll now unload on this side with a power sweep and go into that, and this same unload as the new dryer to the old leg, and we can load out over there. Why not send it to the new leg? Because it would have had to come out about right here, and with all the other stuff, it was just gonna get a little messy in here. So it's okay going to the old leg. It'll be a little slower than loading trucks with the new leg, but it's gonna be having to have an auger, and best to have 2 or 3 people around to sweep out the bin that way. And I can give you a refresher on our electrical shack. Let's go in here. Actually, one motor that didn't get used from those overheads, we had to replace one, and so that's been done. That was another $1,000, but when you're spending this much, who noticed? This is kind of the main brain here for the controls for the dryer. It's all powered down now because we're in the off season. A bunch more wiring that goes to it. And over here, this is the on or automatic function of the fan and the fill system from the wet bin. If we go around here, got ourselves a fridge in here. Yeah, we have all the doors and everything's covered now. So all the breakers, all the electric are in here. Got some of the big switches here for stuff. And yeah, we just built this electrical shack. It's nice having everything in here. Somebody can kind of sit in here and babysit the dryer when that's necessary. But once we got everything dialed in, it ran just fantastic towards the end of harvest. 2 doors in here, so that's where we came in, kind of on the back side, and then like you can walk out here. We kind of got maybe a temporary set of wood stairs, put something in metal later. So it's a couple steps to get up on the dump, but it's not bad. And you're up here. Dump's covered right now, so it didn't get crap in it when we're not using it. This side of our little windbreak here, propane tank behind it, and the new bin system behind. And of course the transformer we had to get because we needed more power to do all this. Something I want to change at some point, which would have to change anyway if we build bins farther to the east in the future. Our exit ramp here off the dump is, you can see, it's a pretty good drop there. So here's the wall. So this wall was built, and then we built it farther because the trucks weren't going to be staying level over the dump and the loadout. And so we extended this a couple times during harvest. We got these fiberglass sticks up here so you can see that you're not going to fall off the edge from the driver's seat of the semi. But let's go down to the lower level and kind of show you how steep that is. So yeah, we've got quite a bit of stone in that, and most of that would stay actually. But I think what I want to do, especially if you're gonna have another bin right here, you're gonna have to drive around it anyway. Go ahead, peel some of this back, build ourselves, I don't know, another 20 feet of concrete wall here or something, and just have this ramp go out farther. We'll probably have to drive around that post, extend the driveway to go around there. I mean, I'm not sure you'd make that turn, but if you put another bin here, the idea is that post that's holding the guy wires for the leg is right where, see where the fans are between these 2 bins? That's kind of where that lands. So if we built 2 more bins, it'd kind of be tucked in that wedge in between the 2 new bins and kind of hidden. Right now it's kind of out in the open, but planning for the future. So this ramp hasn't caused us any problems. I think we need to redesign it just a little bit sometime in the future so you can drive straight off. You don't have to be turning when you're coming off of it. So it's not bad. I'd like to change it up a bit. We went with these quiet fans on everything on the new build, and also the bins we built 6 years ago have this same type of fan. They're super quiet. It's nice because the old aeration fans are super loud. Oh, and here on the jump auger from the dryer unload, we have our little moisture taker here. So while corn's going through here, you just pop this cap off this piece of pipe. Got a little bucket, take some corn, you can get a moisture sample. That's one little disadvantage of a top dry. So a top dry is a bin, and as you dry the corn, you can run it continuous and empty it all the time. We don't do that. We let it fill up, and then we're transferring dried and cool corn, not hot corn, straight out of a continuous flow dryer. With a continuous flow, you're going to be getting moisture samples all the time and kind of make adjustments on the fly. With a top dryer, you're filling a bin, so especially the first year with it, getting it dialed in, we over dried a lot to start. Plus it was shutting down on us, doing different things, kept having to restart it. But we needed a way to test moisture. I wish there was a better way to test moisture real time, but nobody seems to have like a really great automatic solution for that for a top dry. So that's kind of the wrap up on the bin build. You got any questions about it or anything, ask me in the comments, be happy to answer them. Once we got kind of the bugs worked out, you just kind of have that when you're doing big builds like this. Everything worked really good, excited to put it to use next year. I hope it looks like $1 million, because that's pretty much how much it cost.